Patrick's fans, welcome to another edition of Caglianone's Corner. I'm here with head coach Lenny Caglianone. Now, Lenny, we split the weekend series. However, you've gotten your second consecutive series win in your inaugural season as head coach of the Patricks. Tell us how that kind of feels for you.
It has absolutely zero impact on how I feel. It does. It has zero impact on how I feel. I don't care. The next game is the most important game. In all seriousness, don't care. We don't care. No one cares. We want the next two. That's it.
And going on to those.
What I'm talking about?
Going on to those next two, you have a chance to actually win out your third consecutive season series as the series is tied at 2-2. Tell us from your eyes, I mean, we're going against the third place team in the East right now. It was kind of a struggle last weekend with a team that's currently in 10th. What's kind of the mindset going into that two-day stretch?
Yeah, I think we match up well against Maine. So, and I know how Nick coaches. I know his style and his approach. You know, for both of us, we're both coaches, right, and both teams. It's definitely a chess match. There's a lot of intellect there, a lot of structure. So it's going to be fun. It's fun prepping against them. It's fun prepping against Nick. You know, a good friend of mine as well, and you know, it's a guy that I talk to, and we bounce systems off of each other and just ideologies and, you know, hot gossip, right, within the league, in the division. But yeah, I mean, going into that, it's a lot easier to break down film when you're playing an opponent like Maine, who's highly structured, you know, has flex points, trigger points throughout all areas of the ice. You know, and Nick and I do have a very similar approach when it comes to the X's and O's and the intangibles of the game. So it was definitely a lot more fun for me to break down because you're actually seeing what is going on the ice and not just five guys running around with the same color jersey on. But yeah, it's going to be a chess match. It's going to be a chess match.
And also this weekend, it's kind of big for both teams, as this will be the 48th and 49th time respectively these two teams have gone head-to-head. Now this year, it's looked a little better in previous. What would you kind of say to at least speak on the franchise overall going against this team?
I mean, I think for me this year, like knowing Nick prior to coming in, it was just, I knew he had a good team last year, and I know he just missed going to the Robbie. Right, so I think that I kind of use that as my benchmark to see how, you know, we as a staff we're gonna hold up, you know, our adjustment and as well as really what could our guys do when we were facing a team. I mean, let's call a spade, a better team on a piece of paper, you know, but that doesn't mean that they're a better team on the ice, and I think that us going together and kind of going head to head and seeing like, hey, it is possible in some of the darker, you know, days of the season, right? That the beating Maine the first time it was a bright spot. It gave us optimism, and optimism is something that you could sell to everybody in that room. So yeah, I think it's important, but it's also it brings us back. It's a nostalgic factor, right? Now we're going back. Hey, we've matched up well against a top three team. Let's try and you know, replicate what we've done prior. We know the success is there. We know we could do it. So it's yeah, I think it's heavier than we think it is, right? I have yet to walk into the room today, but I know, like, just from talking to my leadership group, there was a heavy emphasis on this matchup.
And now, speaking on going into the matchup, are there any players that you think the fans should keep an eye out for this week?
On the hat tricks?
Yes, sir.
I mean, as always, everybody loves Nico Tornes. You know, if he plays his 200-foot game, he's incredible to watch. I've really had an affinity for Pierre Larocque the past couple of games. I think he's been tremendous. Just you know, an elite stick, a professional stick, in that sense, just so efficient in that. I'm trying to think who else's game. I really enjoyed Joey Malozzi's game this weekend. I really did. Him and I had a transparent, honest talk about how his season has went, and it takes an incredibly mentally and emotionally tough human being to have that conversation, right? It's a tough one, and talk about someone who answered the bell. Just great. I know he got on the score sheet on the first game. I don't think he got on the score sheet the second game, but he was a monumental part of why we won. Just an absolute water bug, and he was a motor up and down the ice. I really, really, really enjoyed that. So I would say I look for Joe to come in and just reciprocate that and just cause frustration. Joey Anderson as well. Thought he was another guy who maybe didn't get on the score sheet, but had an incredible impact with his physicality and tenacity. So I was super impressed by those guys, and I listen. I have an affinity for all my guys, right? So I don't want to go up and down the roster, because now you're starting to get the wheels turning, and who did little things that got me excited. I get happy over the details. So that's I would say those four guys for sure.
And to piggyback off of Nico and Pierre, top prospects next week, what's the feeling on that? We got four guys going with aforementioned Nico Tornes, Pierre Larocque, as well as Sal Serrato and Chance Uzel.
Yeah, I'm happy for those guys. I think for Rocker and for Uzi and for Sal, all uncommitted, all fours. So super important for them to go there and showcase themselves in front of those eyes. Particular eyes, right? And then for Nico, listen, he's created a ton of buzz around him, right? And getting selected for Central Scouting, that select team. You could almost flirt with the idea of something bigger coming at the end of the year, right, for him. But it's on him. It's on him, and it's on those other three guys to go in there. Pay the piper, answer the bell, and perform when it's time to perform, right? Everybody wants to be in the pressure moments. No one wants to actually perform, and I think that's the biggest thing. But listen, I hope those guys relish it and take advantage of it. It's gonna be great for them. We're all flying out on the same flight, so we'll have a lot of time to talk and digest each individual's game. But most of all, just enjoy the experience.
Absolutely. And fans, you can catch the Hat-Tricks playing the Nordiques this week on NATV, starting on Thursday, February 13th at 7 p.m. and Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day at 7:30, followed by Top Prospects on the 17th and 18th. All those games will be covered for you on NATV. And Lenny, thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Pat. And remember, Valentine's Day, Friday.
Oh, I remember.
The new fiance would not be happy if she didn't get a text or a call. Just putting it out there.
She'll be getting flowers too.